how can you start making money in real estate or start investing in real estate? This is a question that comes up a lot, and I really want to dive deep into this topic because it is a question that comes up quite a bit. And I want to show you that how the everyday Joe, the average person, can get their start in real estate investing to start making money. I feel like a lot of people feel like it's just unattainable, right? Or only rich people invest in real estate, or you need to have a lot of money to be able to invest in real estate. I'm going to go through a bunch of different options as far as how the everyday consumer can get their start in real estate investing. So first off, I want to start with a little bit of a quote. 90% of the world's millionaires became millionaires through real estate investing. That is a real thing. So there is a lot of money in real estate, right? But again, a lot of people feel like it's unattainable. Just the other day, I had someone reach out to me and ask how they can get started. So we started brainstorming and talked about a few different ideas on how they can get it going. And that's really what sparked the idea for this video. So let's talk about it, right? If you own a home now and you're thinking about getting into some sort of a real estate investment, what does that look like, right? So let's start off by busting some myths. You need 20% down to purchase an investment property. Not true. So you actually just need 15% down, which is still a pretty hefty amount. 15% of the purchase price is when you're purchasing an investment property. We've got some ideas to not necessarily get around this, but there's some alternatives to just buying an investment property with 15% down. So I want to talk about those first. A lot of people, for the most part, don't have that kind of money just sitting there ready to spend. So some ideas to, instead of, pulling cash out and doing that, I have a few ideas for you guys. If you own a home now and you've owned it for a few years, you've more than likely, especially here in Arizona, have a ton of equity in that home. Again, depending on how many times you've refinanced, every situation is different. But if you own the home for at least a year, you're more than likely sitting on a pretty decent amount of equity. So we can tap into that equity in your existing home to become the down payment for a rental property. This is one of the most common ways to do it, right? You've got equity in your existing home. You pull out, 30, 40, 50, $70,000, whatever you're going to need for the down payment of the home you're looking to buy. And that it doesn't increase your existing mortgage by a ton, especially, again, depending on what your current rate is. Rates are low right now, so you can borrow that money pretty cheap. And again, it's just increases your monthly mortgage by however much. And then we can use that as the down payment for the next one. Now, here's where we want to get a little analytical and make sure that the numbers make sense, right? So anytime you're investing money, the whole goal of an investment is to spend some money to make more money, right? That's the whole idea. That's what we want to do. We want to research the market. And right now in Arizona, the rental market is hot. There are lots of people looking for rentals and rent prices are going up. So you want to be a landlord. You want to be that person that is collecting the high rents, but research the area. So what I like to do is I take a look at, purchase price, down payment, potential repairs. You want to figure out what all those costs are going to look like, that total out of pocket. That's your initial investment, right? And then we want to research, okay, what is the average rent in this area? What can I get, right? How much money are you going to get every single month from this rental? And then you want to calculate that with what your new mortgage payment will be. So obviously we want to get that mortgage payment as low as possible, as well as the rent as high as possible. And then boom, that is your profit right there. Now, the cool thing about investment properties and long-term rentals is your home will continue to appreciate and your loan balance will continue to go down. So you always have the option. So again, the goal is to get in the first one, right? Get that first investment property. Tap into the equity of your existing home, get that first investment property, pay that balance down. Then you can tap into that equity and purchase your next one. And you can just keep doing that and just keep making more and more money with the investment properties. It's really that simple. So that's one of the easiest ways, is tapping into the existing equity in your home. Option number 2, you move, right? You leave your existing home and you turn that into a rental. You've probably been paying on it for a little bit, depending on what your mortgage is. We do that same research as far as, okay, here is what rent is going for right now. Here's my mortgage payment. Again, especially if you've been in there for a few years, you might have a pretty low mortgage payment. Let's say $1,000 a month. You could rent it out for $1,500. That's $500 a month in profit every single month. But what are you going to do with the next house? Well, I dove a little bit more deep into this in a previous video called investments. And so we talk a little bit more about how you can do that with an existing property. So I won't go into that here. But another one I want to talk about is house flips, right? We hear this a lot. There's tons of HD TV shows on house flips. Do we have a product where you can buy a house, put some money into it, and then sell it real fast? That's the definition of a flip, right? You're buying a house, you're going to spend X amount of dollars hoping to get so much more in return and then sell it for more, and then you make a profit, right? If you don't have the cash or the money, and typically financing, rehabbed homes is tougher. But again, we do have a renovation loan product, which is also in a previous video. But today I wanted to talk about hard money. So what is hard money? Have you ever even heard of that? First off, this is not something I offer as a traditional mortgage lender. A hard money loan is a private loan that you can get from typically an individual or a corporation. If you need help finding where to find these people, hit me up. I can show you the hard money lenders. But basically what it is they're willing to give you can do up to 100%. So 100% financing. Let's say you find a house for $300,000. There's people that will lend you $300,000 so that you can buy that house. Your terms aren't going to be as good as a traditional mortgage. Your interest rate's going to be higher. It may have a balloon payment. There's a lot of things that go into it, and there are some riskier loans out there. But again, if you do it right, if we've done our research and we know that this house is going to need $20,000 worth of work, but that $20,000 worth of work is going to equal $50,000 to $60,000 in equity, then that might be a good investment if you can get in at a good price, right? We spend money to make more. That's the goal. There's a lot that goes into it, but if you want help with this, I can talk you through it and show you what steps you need to take. It's a risk, and people lose money at this all day long. So just keep that in mind. There's pros and cons to investing, just like in anything else. But it is a great opportunity, and I think it's pretty cool. All right. I want to talk about how I got my first investment property. So it kind of happened by accident, to be honest, but it really did work. It was during the time of COVID. We were getting really restless in the house, being cooped up in quarantine. And so we ended up staying at a friend's short-term rental up in Northern Arizona, up in Pine Top. And we loved it there. It was really nice. And then, my wife handles most of that stuff. So I'm like, how much did we pay for this place? And I was like, we could almost buy a place and have what we spent for spending the week here could be our mortgage. So I really thought about that, and I was like, well, let me look into this. And so I did some research, started looking at home prices. When you're looking to purchase it as a second home, again, it can't be an investment, but a place that you are going to live, a second home, the down payment is only 10%. You only need a 10% down. So it's a pretty minimal down considering, the difference between 10 and 20. So that's a great way to get started. The only difference between that and an investment property from a qualification standpoint is you have to make sure you can qualify for both mortgages. So you have to make sure that income-wise, you have enough to cover the second house mortgage as well as your existing mortgage. There's no rental income, so we can't use a potential future income as part of the application like you can with an investment property, again, which I explained in a previous video. But long story short, you can use a rental agreement to use as income to offset the payment when you're buying an investment property. We bought it as a second home to have a nice little getaway, to spend some time up north. After we owned the home for about a year, we looked at, okay, maybe some short term. We're not there all the time. We don't spend every weekend there. What if we look at renting this place out? So I started looking at the area and kind of seeing what they were renting for. And I can tell you right now, it's one of the best investments I've ever made now that we've turned it into a short-term rental, because we've got people booking it like crazy, and you can charge more per night. There's more fees and cleaning and stuff, but it's a great way to get started because, again, it's 10% down. The interest rates on a second home are about the same as a primary home. So there's a lot of great opportunities. So it's another great way to kind of get your foot in the door with investing, because once you get that first property, then that opens up more scenarios, right? So all the stuff I talked about in the previous video, tapping into equity, these are easy things, guys. Everybody can do this as long as you own a home now. I love to share this stuff because I feel like there's just a lot of information that feels out of reach for some people, right? You see people buying houses. Oh, I wish I could do that. You can. Or if you don't own a home now, I've said it a million times, get started. Whatever's holding you back, just get that out of your head and come talk to me. Let's get you on the path to home ownership, because that is where wealth is made. Remember what I said in the beginning. 90% of the world's millionaires got their start and became millionaires through real estate investing. It's that easy, guys. So if you have any questions on this, or if you have any other scenarios you'd like to hear about, I'd love to hear about it. Hit me up in the comments, and you guys, as always, be sure to like and subscribe. Thanks.